could have reset your password too.
Yeah, I just couldn't find, because for some reason on this screen, it, that Navarro DC-30 just disappeared.
No clue as to how that could have just removed.
Yeah. It's on there now. Thank you. I'm James, log us in.
Kevin, new IT guy.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Okay.
To help Miss Tiffany out. So the one that that kind of convinced her to set up the whole help email system. And
well, if anyone needs it, it's always me.
Well, if you, whenever you send that like an email like you did to the help desk,
yeah,
it sends all of us in the IT department an
okay.
email. That's how we have it set up. So if I'm down here in another office, yeah, I get it on my phone and I can just reply back and let you know that I'm coming up. I don't know if you get that reply, but I was literally like,
I sent it and then I didn't even look again. So
yeah, I was getting on the elevator. I was like, I'll be right up. But
oh yeah, there you are. Thank you.
So it's just a way for us to track
yeah.
and work orders and stuff like that. So you can get a hold of us right away instead of having to call our offices and us not being there, helping somebody out.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. I will.
Right.
Have a good day. Okay, I'm sorry for that delay. That was an issue I couldn't figure out, but it's been figured out now. Do we have everybody here on Roach versus Progressive?
Good morning, Your Honor. This is Brad Dickens on behalf of Progressive.
Okay.
And Jill Penn here on behalf of James Roach, well, the plaintiff.
Okay.
And Your Honor, the person identified as Dawn on the Zoom spreadsheet here, whatever you call that,
yeah,
is the applicant for the estate to probate the estate, and so she is here.
Okay.
Although I believe she may have stepped away from her computer, so I am sending a message right now to be sure that she's back on there.
And this is is this a motion to dismiss?
It is, Judge.
Okay. All right, then we will go on the record in cause number D20 29338-CV, James Roach versus Progressive Insurance Company. I have counsel for the plaintiff and defendant present, and this is a motion to dismiss for want of prosecution. And you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. As I stated a moment ago, I represent Progressive County Mutual Insurance Company in this lawsuit. This is a fairly standard claim for uninsured or underinsured motorist benefits arising out of an accident that occurred on March 25th, 2019. After the accident, as a part of the claim for those benefits, James Roach filed a lawsuit on December 2nd, 2020 to seek a recovery of those benefits. On December 18th, 2020, plaintiff's counsel filed a suggestion of death indicating that Mr. Roach had passed away. Since that time, and frankly, Judge, just for the court's benefit, we have been in contact with plaintiff's counsel. There was some discussion back in late December of 2020 and early January, I should say, of 2021, where plaintiff's counsel indicated that obviously, given Mr. Roach's death, that obviously kind of limits some of their future damages, and that they were considering just not moving forward with this claim for UM/UIM benefits. However, despite those conversations, they have not, since that time, filed any type of notice of non-suit or any other dismissal documents, so the case is still on file. We have pretty regularly been in touch with plaintiff's counsel asking essentially, what's the status? Are we moving forward with the case? Are we going to do discovery? Are you going to non-suit the case? And basically the answer each time has been, I don't have any updates for you. I don't know. Plaintiff's counsel's response has been, I guess, in writing and to this court has been, we need more time in order to basically have an administrator of the estate appointed in order to get authority to non-suit the case. We believe that, notwithstanding the issues in the probate court, again, it's not entirely clear to me where things stand on that. That's part of the reason we've been trying to get updates from plaintiff's counsel on this. But the fact is, this case has now been on the court's docket for the better part of 6 months at this point, and nothing has occurred. And so given that, and particularly given just the procedural facts of the case, we believe that the case should be dismissed for want of prosecution. Obviously, a dismissal for want of prosecution would be without prejudice. So we're not asking for the court to dismiss it with prejudice. But essentially, we're saying that this is not a good use of the court's time to keep this case on the docket, and that it should be dismissed with prejudice. And then if for whatever reason the estate determines that they still want to pursue this claim, they could still refile within the statute of limitations. But at this point, given that literally nothing is happening on the case, and we're also, obviously our hands are somewhat tied, given that we're dealing with a deceased plaintiff as far as what we can do in discovery, we believe this case should be dismissed at this time.
Okay. Ms. Penn?
Yes, Your Honor. On December 8th, Mr. Roach passed away, and we filed a suggestion of death. We actually contacted counsel for the defendant pretty quickly as soon as we learned, and then filed a suggestion of death on December 18th of 2020. At that time, as Mr. Dickens stated, we told defense counsel, look, just please put a hold on this for right now. We do not know what the family wants to do. At that point in time, no one had discovered a will, come forward with a will, done anything with the estate, etc. Since that time, Dawn Tucker, who is on the Zoom today, filed an application for probate of will on March 19th. I got a copy of that yesterday. I have reached out to the probate lawyer twice and have not gotten a response. There's no reason to dismiss this case. We're not sending discovery to the defendant. We're not bothering the court. We're not setting things for hearing that don't need to be heard. We are simply trying to get the estate in a position so that someone is appointed as the executrix or executor so that we can either dismiss this case or proceed with it. But until that is done through the probate system, there's nothing we can do in this court. As Your Honor knows, I don't actually have a client right now. And so I'm stuck. I can't obviously dismiss a case. I can't agree to dismiss a case. I can't send discovery. I can't do anything. And Ms. Tucker is here to answer any of Your Honor's questions. I'm happy to call her as a witness if needed. But right now, there has been an application for probate of a will, but no, it has not gone further as far as I understand. There's not been an actual probate. We don't have letters testamentary yet. And because of that, we're sort of waiting on the probate court to determine then whether the executrix is going to proceed with this case or not. I have repeatedly been in contact, and I think Mr. Dickens admits that, with defense counsel saying, look, don't bill your client. I'm not asking you to do any work. Just put this case on pause until we can get someone appointed who can make decisions. And that's simply what we're asking, Your Honor, is to keep this case on the docket where we're not doing anything until we have someone appointed who can make a decision to either dismiss or proceed.
Your Honor, brief response.
Okay, yes, sir.
Two things. The communications, and I didn't attach them, frankly, to the motion, just because I generally don't like to be in the business of attaching attorney communications to court documents if I can avoid it. But the communications have been almost entirely, I believe, from Mr. Richards and Ms. Penn's office. And what Mr. Richards had told us was actually, frankly, even less information than what's been provided this morning. It was essentially, and I'm sitting here at my office, I'm looking at their emails that were essentially saying, we haven't been able to establish contact with the widow. We don't know where the widow is. We're trying to get a private investigator. So it was not even a communication of, where we are in the probate proceedings. It was, I don't even know who my client is, I think, as Ms. Penn just said a moment ago. And I think that also raises the other issue, Judge, of I understand plaintiff's counsel's concern about, needing to get the estate, administered and handled. And frankly, Judge, I share that concern because as it stands right now, there really isn't even evidence that plaintiff's counsel has authority to be prosecuting this case. And so, again, I think the solution to this is not to keep a case on the court's docket, which plaintiff's counsel acknowledges, at least as it currently sits, they don't have authority necessarily to be prosecuting, as opposed to taking it off the court's docket, letting the administration of the estate play out. And if, and only if, at that point, the estate decides that they want to move forward, they can move forward with a with a new suit. The statute of limitations hasn't run in this case. There's no, it's not as if it gets DWOP'd today that's the end of the story necessarily. It's still, they still have that option of refiling. But at this point, given that this is a case which no one on the plaintiff side of the docket has actual legal authority, or it's been established that they have authority to move forward with it, we don't believe that it's a good use of the court's time to have this case on the docket at this time.
I'll take this under advisement. Y'all make good arguments on both sides, and maybe I can do a little research on my own and see if I can find a solution for what's before the court, obviously. Anything else?
Your Honor, if you need to hear from Ms. Tucker, she's here. If you don't need any evidence from her, I'm going to let her go ahead and go.
That's fine. That's fine. We're good. Thank you very much, both of y'all, and I'll work out a ruling on this, on the motions before the court. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we be excused?
Yeah, sorry for the delay.
It's okay. Thank you, Judge.
Okay, do we have everybody here for, I think, is it Bodmer?
Bodmer, Your Honor, or
Bodmer?
at least that's how I've been pronouncing it, and my client has not corrected me yet.
Okay. And Mr. Eisen, you said something, but I think you're muted.
You figure out how to. Do I need to do it? Unmute it.
Can you hear now?
Yes, sir. I
Thank
can
you.
hear you. All right. Mr. Eisen, I'm sorry to hear about your sister.
It was quite a blow, Your Honor.
Yes, I didn't know till the other day, so I'm sorry.
What you may not know, she struggled since 2016 with pretty bad
Yeah,
cancer.
I kind of knew that she would mention it from time to time, and so I thoughts and prayers with you and your family. So,
Thank you, sir.
what we have this morning, I guess, temporary orders in this case.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have y'all had an opportunity to speak yet?
I wrote the opposing counsel a letter telling him I'd be coming in the case and finishing it for my sister. And
Okay.
I did not get a response back. This is about 2 weeks ago. So I really haven't spoken in an effort to try to work anything out.
I was on vacation, Your Honor, when the letter. I was on vacation.
I'm sorry, Mr. Munguia, you cut out. I didn't hear I heard you say something, but I didn't hear what you said.
I was on vacation when the letter came in.
Oh, gotcha. Do you want to put y'all in the breakout room?
I'm going to be willing to discuss it, yes, sir, because the issues that we have should be able to be settled, maybe.
Okay. The only thing I have today, I have to leave here about 10:15, but for a ceremony. But let me go ahead and open those rooms. Mr. Eisen and Mr. Munguia, I'm going to put y'all in room 1. Okay.
I didn't. Mhm.
Stop. Not go. Stop. Stop. Lay down. I'll put you in your box. I'll put you in your box.
started. It was taking me away from here. And I'm thinking, with their body pattern and all that. I know, I'm not gonna work out. I'm not. And I got like, oh.
Sorry. Do I have an opportunity to speak?
We did.
Yes.
Well, where are we?
I think we
Like we're
have a
gonna
hearing.
be hearing.
I'm sorry?
I think we need the hearing, Your Honor. We couldn't.
Okay. Well, let's get started. And then, like I said, I've got to leave here at 10:15. If we're not done by then we can come back this afternoon at say 1 to finish.
I believe I have a hearing at 1, Your Honor.
Okay. Well,
Let me double check.
Okay.
I do. I have a restraining order hearing at 1, and it's already been extended once for 14.
Okay. Well, let's get through as far as we can, then we'll find, if we're not done, then normally I give each side 15 minutes, and I know that we're kind of in a lot of it's my fault for not being able to start on time due to the issues, but let's go ahead and get started. But I will have to leave promptly at 10:15 or recess. This is cause number D21-29470 in the matter of the marriage of Chantel Bodmer and Richard Bodmer in the interest of Damian Bodmer, a child. I have petitioner and respondent present with their counsel, and these are temporary orders, I believe, and I'll take opening statements.
This is the petitioner.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Our position on this, Chantel Bogmer's position, is that a temporary order should be entered and the residence currently of the child should be changed to the residence in Ellis County, which she maintains, where she lives with her mother and her father. The reason why we believe a change should be made, setting aside any differences between the parties that relate to irreconcilable differences, is the fact that the environment the child is currently in Navarra is in an old house, and it is a dangerous house. By the pictures that we hope to present into evidence that we took both off Facebook and by our client, comparing the two residences, there's wild animals running loose in the house, specifically a possum. We got a picture of that the respondent took in his own house. But this place was bought and it never was remodeled, and it's a danger to the child. If the residence of the child is changed, there is an elementary school within walking distance and eyesight of the Ellis County residence. There's also his siblings who are living with my client's mother and father, as does my client. My client lives with their mother and father. My client can get support and work full time with the help that she can receive at the residence where she is with her mother and father. We believe that would be in the best interest of this child. The child starts first grade in September, And we were hoping to get this case on the fast track and get the permanent heard before he has to enter elementary school, because this is a critical period in the child's life. Damien, he's 6 years old, and believing will be entering elementary school in first grade. So that's our issues in a nutshell. And I'll pass. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McGee?
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court, counsel. It's ironic that counsel says that this is a critical period in the child's life, given the fact that the mother left almost a year ago. And as the court knows, public policy in the state of Texas, the purpose of temporary orders is to maintain the status quo. And particularly for this child who is so young. This child has resided with father for approximately a year now. Mother was so concerned about the well-being of the child. Mother would have exercised some periods of possession while she was there, but the fact of the matter is she didn't. There were on numerous occasions my client would offer, the facts are going to show that my client offered Miss Latimer periods of possession with the child. She would confirm that she's coming, and she just wouldn't show up. The facts are going to show that she was just too busy dealing with her boyfriend to be worried about her child. So if there was such a concern there over where the child was, the mother would have at least exercised some of her periods of possession. She would have attempted to take the child when she left the residence. But rather now, this child has lived with dad for a year, and mom wants to strip this child of the only residence this child has ever known and move in with grandma and move in with mom's boyfriend. So we would ask the court to maintain things the way they are, and order mom to provide dad 24 hours notice of her intent to exercise possession, given the fact that he just doesn't show up. And that the parties maintain the property that's in their possession subject to their control.
All right. Mr. Eisen, you may call your first witness.
All right, she should be on the line. I'll call Chantal Bogmer as my first witness.
Okay.
Chantal, are you there?
All right, ma'am. If you can unmute yourself, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
All right, ma'am, do you want to raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
You may proceed.
Thank you, sir. Would you state and pronounce your first name for the record?
Chantal
Last name?
Bodmer.
Bodmer. And as far as your position in this case, are you the petitioner as you understand it?
Yes, sir.
When did you separate from your current husband?
December 31st,
Of what year?
2019. Or sorry, 2020.
Okay, since December of 2020, how often have you seen your child?
I've seen him quite often when he brought him into the store. Otherwise, he wouldn't let me see him, or he would wait until 5 minutes before he wanted me to see him and let me know.
Okay, did you have any kind of agreement with visitation that you received that was in a proposed agreement in writing from your husband about visitation?
No, sir.
Did you have problems with your husband in getting access to the child?
Yes, sir.
What type of problems did you have? Would you describe those for us?
I would call, he won't answer the phone. It goes straight to voicemail. And to try to see him, he won't let me see him at all.
Describe some of the efforts that you've tried to see your child and the failures since December 2020.
Phone calls, text messages. I've gone out there and nobody would be there just so I could see him.
Now, do you know anything about a calendar of dates that your husband was keeping concerning your efforts to see the child or the fact that you didn't show up to see the child?
No, sir.
Has he ever told you that he had such a calendar before this hearing?
No, sir.
Did you have any kind of set agreement as to when you could see the child with him?
No, sir.
And let's describe your work history since December 2020. Have you been employed since December 2020?
All but 2 weeks.
And what were those 2 weeks?
I had gotten fired from the Shell because he kept coming up there harassing me.
I didn't catch the name of that employer.
Shell
Shell, like the Shell Oil Company?
gas station,
Oh, Shell gas station. What was your employment at the gas station?
cashier.
And when did you get fired from that position?
It was about 4 months ago.
And did you get a new position after that?
Yes, sir. I started a new job.
And when did you start your new job?
I want to say it was March 15th.
March 15, 2021?
Yes, sir.
And what is your pay scale?
I get paid every 2 weeks.
What's the pay per hour?
$9.
And what is the number of hours that you get?
30 plus hours a week.
30 plus hours a week at $9 an hour?
Yes, sir.
And where is that employment?
Sonic.
Now, where have you been residing since December 2020?
My mother's.
Would you state that address for the record, please, and give us the county where it is?
404 Callaway, Palmer, Texas, 75152, Ellis County.
Who else is in residence at that house or has been since you resided there since December 2020?
My mom, my dad, and my other 2 children.
And what are the names and ages of the other 2 children?
Jared Mosley, 17, and Shania Rhodes, 14.
Do they have any kind of relationship with your child, Damien?
Yes, sir. It's their brother.
Okay, and do the children see Damien? Have they seen him since December 2020?
They seen him last week when they went on family vacation.
Was that the first time they'd seen him since December 2020?
They've seen him maybe a handful of times since then.
What were those occasions where they were able to see him other than this vacation?
His birthday, and when Richard decided, oh, well, I want to go out with my friends. Can you take Damien for the weekend? And I've done that one time.
Is there anyone else in residence with your mother and father, such as a boyfriend, that stays over there with you at the house?
No, sir.
Ellis County. You have to wait till I finish my question with the permission of the court. Is anyone else residing there at that your mother and father's house in Ellis County since December 2020, but your 2 children, your mother and father, and yourself?
No, sir.
All right. If Damien was to change residence and come to Ellis County, describe the elementary school that's available there for him to enroll in, what your plan is with that, if any.
He would be walking distance to the school. The school's a great school.
If you are working full time, as you are doing, and earning the money that you are you contributing any of that money to the household expenses over there with your mother and father?
If they need the money, then I give it to them.
Okay. And as far as the situation with your transportation is concerned, do you have transportation to get to and from your job?
I use my mom's truck.
Okay. So will your employment be steady if you're able to obtain a change in custody of this child temporarily so that he can start elementary school in Ellis?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any current boyfriend who stays overnight in that house of your mother and father?
No, sir.
Your Honor, I'm gonna ask for the rule to be invoked at this time, or that Ms. Rhodes stop instructing the witness on how to answer the question?
Okay, yes, I'll invoke the rule. I mean, the rule's invoked at this point in time, and I believe we have, is it Debbie Rhodes?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah, that would be our witness, Your Honor.
Okay,
It's
ma'am,
about-
I'm gonna put you in the waiting room, and I'll just instruct you not to discuss any of the testimony that's being. I mean, we're kind of at a point now where it's been done a little late in the hearing, but I'll order you not to discuss any testimony that you have given in this case with other witnesses. And it seems if there's any kind of coaching or prompting going on or helping this current witness respond, then I would ask that you cease that immediately. I'll put you in the waiting room. And I'll just tell you this, at this point, it may not be till later, at a later period, we can come back to this, so. While we're here, is there any way that y'all could do 3 p.m. today to resume this?
I would be available 3 p.m. Yes, sir.
Mr. McGee, do you know at this point?
I don't, because Ellis has started back on everybody come in at 1, and then we'll get to you when we get to you.
Okay. We'll shoot for 3, but then obviously you can, well, let's continue the examination. I'm just trying to get that out of the way while we're all here.
How much time we have left, Your Honor?
You know, I didn't start my watch because I just forgot. So proceed on.
All right. I had a pending question. I will try to repeat it again. Since December 2020, have you had anybody other than who you described staying overnight in that house with you in your mother and father's house in Ellis County, such as a boyfriend?
No, sir.
Now, do you have a boyfriend?
No, sir.
You don't have a mechanic that you date?
I do not date him. He is strictly a friend.
Okay, now, what was the reason for the bust up in December 2020? Was it any particular thing or just irreconcilable differences?
He actually asked me what I was doing there and why I was there. I told him I think we needed to separate. He said, you leave and it's over. I left. I was done arguing with him. He was never home. He was always at work. It was just me all the time.
When you moved into that house that you were living in December 2020 that you left, how long before December 2020 was that?
We moved into that house in 2010.
Can you describe the condition of it when you moved in?
It needs major work.
What kind of major work? What kind of deficiencies?
The roof needs to be repaired. The floors need to be done. The ceiling in the kitchen needs to be done. When it rains, it leaks in the house.
Have there ever been wild animals entered into the house through holes?
Yes, sir.
Did you experience that yourself?
Yes, sir.
Describe that experience, what you saw.
I had a possum come right through the front door and try to jump in my lap.
And do you have worry about your child being in that house in the current condition that it's in?
Yes, sir.
What's your concern, if any?
That he might get bit by a possum or anything else that might come into the house.
Okay, now, as far as the issue of wanting to exercise visitation, did you make a calendar of the times that your husband did not provide the child to you when you wanted to visit it?
No, sir, I didn't.
Now it's been about, let's see, we're December, January, February, March, and April. Who was your attorney in this case previous to myself?
Afton Eisen.
Afton Jane Eisen.
Yes, sir.
And as far as getting temporary orders or attempting to set any type of visitation or whatever, did you hope to be able to reach any agreement with your husband?
Yes, sir.
Did you make any efforts to try to reach any agreement with your husband before you filed or asked me to file application for temporary orders?
I've tried talking to him, and all he wants to do is yell at me and call me names.
And now if you get an order of visitation, would you exercise your visitation?
Yes, sir.
If you got an order of custody, temporary until trial, would you allow exercise of visitation according to the terms of the court order?
Yes, sir.
Do you need the protection of a court order?
Yes, sir.
Did you have the protection of the court order before today?
No, sir.
Now, as far as future plans for the child, where would you enroll this child in first grade?
Palmer ISD.
Did the child finish kindergarten?
Yes, sir.
Did you review the status of the child at his kindergarten to see what his performance was?
Yes, sir. I have his report card.
How did you get his report card?
His teacher gave it to me on May 28th
And how did you happen to get the report card on May 28th?
after his kindergarten graduation.
Did you attend the kindergarten graduation?
Yes, sir.
Did you see your husband at the kindergarten graduation?
Afterwards, when he took him home with him.
So he was not, the husband was not at the kindergarten.
I didn't see him before that.
Do you know whether he worked that day?
I don't know.
Do you know whether your husband is currently employed?
He says he is, but I don't know.
Do you know what his previous employment was as of December 2020?
Fujikoki, America, in Dallas.
Does he still have that job in your knowledge?
No.
How did you learn that he didn't have the job?
He told me over the phone that he got fired because of me.
And how did he get fired because of you? Did he give you an explanation?
Because he was 15 minutes late to work every day because he had to pick up Damien and drop him off with my parents in Waxahachie.
How many times was he dropped off and picked up at your parents in Waxahachie from December 2020?
Every night that he had to work.
So your mother and father acted in support of your husband in taking the child when he was dropped off, when your husband went into work, and then your husband would pick up the child when he came back from work.
Yes, sir, to take him to school.
And so he stayed overnight with your husband, but he stayed when he stayed with your mother and father, what time period was that? What were the hours of each day?
From 4 p.m. till 5 a.m.
He
It was
worked-
overnight.
Oh, so your Damien stayed overnight with your mother and father?
Yes.
And your husband let him stay overnight with your mother and father?
Yes, sir.
And during this period of time, did Damien interact with his siblings?
Yes, sir.
Describe that for us.
He would play with them, run around, and have fun.
What happened on weekends?
Richard would have him.
Was there ever a weekend when Richard let the child come to the mother and father's house?
Not that I can remember.
And this trip, this vacation, what type of vacation was that?
A family vacation.
And did Damien go on the vacation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Eisen, I'm going to have to recess at this point in time. Let's shoot for 3 p.m. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And when we resume, you'll have about 5 minutes left.
Okay.
All right.
In the event that I can't.
We'll find another time.
Okay.
Okay.